just when you thought that YouTube couldn't get any more weirder. So YouTube is used for so many different purposes, movie reviews, video games, you can go anything from how to let's play to helping you come up with a strategy to just talking about it, to reviewing games. This is, of course, the reason why I joined YouTube so much as watching videos and different creation of people taking music videos and incorporating them to common other things from movies such as Final Fantasy or Resident Evil or whatever. Of course, what I mean is the games themselves, the gameplay, mixing that with the music from bands like Evanescence and Linkin Park and Disturbed. Those are the ones I searched for. That was my reason for initially watching YouTube. I didn't make a actual attempt to upload or live stream anything until well 2.5 years ago. But in my entirety of YouTube, and that's of course having my main account closed for alleged content copyright violations, I would not think that I would encounter such a well individual such as EDP445. Now, I'm not going to go into details about what that code name means because individuals do not want to use their real name so much as use a mysterious internet name. And of course, when I say internet name, I'm referring to people such as um, he used to go by Moist something, Penguin Zero. His real name is Christopher Charles White. Sorry, Charles Christopher White Jr. Yep. I had to look back because I got him on the other page. I mentioned his name because he's a popular YouTuber that happens to make these videos from his bedroom. Anything from movie reviews to any product he happens to buy. I don't really think he does like product reviews per se, but something that is on his mind. And people, they like this guy. They listen to him. They are subscribers to his content, what have you. I would not think that I would actually see him in any movie. Notice I put that in quotes, let alone the sick mind of EDP445. Yeah, I'm still getting to used to their names. Now, what is this documentary about? The documentary was directed by Mike Klum, a YouTuber. He has his documentary movie film on his channel. I just watched it 2 days ago, and I would say it's just as about as informative and entertaining as any documentary. It includes content that is not really advisable to young children, viewer discretion advised, the type of stuff. And it has quite the use of profanity, especially the F word, the F bomb, the good old FUCK. You know what I mean? I don't have to say the actual word. I don't really want to get flagged or demonetized, so I'll try my best not to use the word. But it's a favorite of Bryant Moreland, who is otherwise known as EDP445. You can find out what that code name means, the EDP part, on your own. Now, I will be using IMDb here to go with the list of names. This is Charles Christopher White Jr., known as Critical. He has other aliases on YouTube. He was known as Moist Critical. Now he goes by Penguins Zero. That's what I know him by when I watch his reviews, his movie reviews. But I guess he does have those other ones. If I were to look down on his reference page, I could probably find it. But anyway, Moist Global. He is on the show. There's a documentary, a brief moment at the beginning and the end. But for purposes of this review, we're just going to go into the Bale Nichols or Missing Cranes. I'm trying to sound like the guy, voice zero, Mr. Christopher Charles White here. I'm trying to sound like him, but I'm not succeeding. Anyway, Bryant Moreland, of course, everything will be described as self. He is the so-called Pope, and I say that word due to Chris Hansen, who's also in this movie documentary. He, he's himself, Mr. How to Catch a Predator or Dateline NPC type of guy. I loved his work, his show. He has an upcoming movie coming out by with starring none other than Robert Pattinson. Yeah, he's in the upcoming Chris Hansen movie titled Prime Time. I look forward to seeing that. But for purposes of this video, I was distracted there. Let's stay on topic. So you've got Mike Klum. He's briefly in it, of course. There is a noble moment as he's interviewing Mr. Moreland, Mr. EDP445. There's a moment that is tragic in it. It involves the use of feces in photos. I'll let you figure that out for yourself if you haven't watched it. Then, of course, we have Johnny Rodriguez, aka Code Waven. Not that you probably heard of this name. He's a YouTuber. A lot of these people are YouTubers. Alex Rosen was predator approaches. Now, if I want to go into kind of a little timeline here, the YouTuber known as Code Waven, Johnny Rodriguez, he's the one that started the initial beef with EDP445, but he sees that it's too much for him, so he decides to forward all of his evi- evidence to Mr. Alex Rosen of Predator Approaches. He is the creator of Predator Approaches. Now, he actually goes out to not only contact Bryant Moreland, EDP445, but to try to catch him in a very a way reminiscent of How to Catch a Predator or To Catch a Predator, the Chris Hansen show. This gets the attention of Mr. Chris Hansen. And Chris Hansen doesn't like it because he sees both Johnny Rodriguez and Alex Rosen as YouTubers just trying to get attention rather than trying to achieve justice, which is exactly what Chris Hansen did with the show. Because if you look at both what Alex Rosen did and you compare that to Chris Hansen's show of To Catch a Predator, they're roughly the same. We can see legal things like entrapment as an example, and how that would cause the whole case to be, as Chris Hansen put it, unprosecutable, meaning that a prosecutor cannot do anything with the evidence. They would have to throw it out in court. They couldn't even put Mr. Moreland on trial, so an arrest would be insufficient, if not downright insulting. So, well, I was wondering how to Catch a Predator compared to Alex Rosen's attempt at trying to catch Mr. Moreland. Well, How to Catch a Predator is still officially done, even though Mr. Hansen is more of a reporter than he is any type of law enforcement. But anyway, don't want to digress here. So you got Stephen Asarch as a journalist, Philip Hamilton as a writer, and you got the criminal attorney Michael Puente. I don't remember everybody. I just remember primarily Code Raven, Predator Approaches, Alex Rosen, and oh yes, of course, Gideon, Omni Adams, who's Gideon. Gideon, I forgot who he was. That's somebody else who wanted to go at EDP445, wanted to catch him, insulting him, sending him hateful messages of how he was a pedophile. Yes, I should have mentioned that first. EDP445 is more or less a pedophile. Is he a child molester? Not really, because he hasn't really molested me. I guess I should go into what this actual review is about, or this movie. Allegedly, EDP445 was talking to underage women, therefore being a pedophile, and this got the attention of Code Raven and also Predator Approaches. Predator Approaches, they came up with a decoy. They hired a decoy to disguise himself as an underage girl, more or less priming Mr. EDP445 into, well, talking to her, sending her inappropriate text messages with inappropriate pictures. And one would be in the right to say that this guy absolutely deserves jail time. But later on, it eventually fell into more or less, whether they call it entrapment. So it made the case unprosecutable. Is it still disgusting? Is it still reprehensive and outright wrong? Yes. But I myself was wondering, could you necessarily prosecute this guy? Could you arrest this guy on certain grounds? Is not this entire documentary just an attempt to gain followers and subscribers and likes and clicks, aka to get attention? I asked Mike Klum that. Are you trying to get attention with this? What is the purpose of this documentary? Trying to sell it. Anyway, so trying to make the review as short as possible. Don't know if I will succeed. I will go further. Skeeter Gene, and of course you're seeing this on my screen. He is a YouTuber. He is known for being an impersonator of, well, Chris Hansen. When I say impersonator, I'm talking about audio wise, voice over voice acting wise. He does it pretty well actually. As a voice actor, aka voice impersonator for Chris Hansen, he has his own little show. He himself tried to go at EDP445. He of course was he tried to get in touch with Mr. Hansen, and Mr. Hansen didn't comment or reply on his comments because he said, "I think they're all a joke," and I'm quoting him as best as possible. They are a joke. I will not even reply because it's a waste of my time. Actually, I'm more or less paraphrasing. That's his words. Mr. Hansen, Chris Hansen, did not think of it worth his time to even acknowledge the existence of Mr. Skeeter Jean, besides, of course, looking at his messages and his comments or whatever. He just didn't think it was worth his time because he thought he was an attention seeker trying to get his attention. And yes, of course, I do recall Skeeter Jean going after and actually getting the EDP445 to come to come into contact. He tricked him, saying that, "Hey, we would like to meet up," using a decoy. I'll recall it what it was. It was they offered EDP445 a cupcake, an actual cupcake, and he's being nice to the so-called decoy, the underage girl, and I think she was 16 or 17, was wanting to be nice by offering Mr. Moreland a cupcake. And he was being nice by responding. And of course, he saw Skeeter Jean, what he was trying to do. I'm looking at the screen, by the way, the exact same screen you're seeing. Can't really see it on OBS Studio because it's quite small. But he figured out what Skeeter Jean was trying to do. So he got out of there, obeying his spider sense, as I'm trying to also make a reference to Spider-Man Brand New Day and Spider-Man in general. He got out of there before he can go farther or further. Now, this didn't keep other people from eventually harassing EDP445, but Chris Hansen didn't approve of Skeeter Jean's attempts because they weren't even trying to alert any authorities, any police or anything, any law enforcement agency. They were simply trying to get him to confess on camera. First for clicks, views, and likes, for attention, and I guess justice. Secondly, they probably would have went to the authorities if they can actually get a confession or anything involving evidence. But let's face facts here. They were trying to get YouTube attention. And because of that, Skeeter didn't really succeed. Um Also they saw Chris Hansen saw Alex Lozen's attempts, the Predator Protest attempts, as they completely botched their whole operation by making it to where it all ended in entrapment. So the case was unprosecutable. Moving on. Kara is EDP's therapist, or was, for however long he had it. He was helping him accept the fact that he was a pedophile. He did like underage women, but that to help him with some rehabilitation, to help him acknowledge his so-called preference, and then to come to terms with it and to help and develop a more healthy approach. Because all of this really started with EDP's failures at a relationship with a female. He had a horrible experience at a not a girlfriendship, not a relationship, but a girl basically dumped him in a way. Um, she embellishingly toned him down in such a way she was going to go out with him, or at least that's how she made it. But then she ended up embellishingly dumping him in such a way that it just destroyed him. It smashed his hopes. It smashed any hopes he ever had at dating a woman. And because of this, he grew up with a disdain for women. I personally can relate, but that doesn't mean that I would try to talk to underage women at all, more or less online. Now, EDP did grow up with a rather foul or vile vocabulary. He's cursing and saying things that are just outright disgusting, such as try to make this as sensitive and PG as possible. F a girl's innocence away. Yeah, and that's a quote. That's a direct quote. To F a girl's innocence away. You see, that's actually disturbing to hear, let alone say. Pardon me. Um, I alone somewhat didn't hate the guy, but upon hearing that for the first time, I am just kind of like, whoa, whoa. I kind of want to stay away from you after hearing that. That is shocking to hear alone. Jimmy is EDP's best friend. He's the guy that you would call in denial. Just, he's rooting for EDP through and through, 100%. Maybe I'm exaggerating. I really don't know how much. And the clinical psychologist, I'm not sure. I think that was also a part of his therapy, but I'm not sure. Mental health professional, don't know if it was. Daniel Kim also went after him. I forgot. Oh, yes, you got a pedophile that is Brandon. They masked his voice. He's is the only pedophile that they got in touch with that was seen to offer any type of empathy advice to anyone. Don't go on the level of EDP. He himself thought EDP was reprehensive, was disgusting. But he said that one should, while he admits to his liking of underage women, he doesn't suggest that anybody should have the same mindset as him. And I'm talking, of course, about Brandon as well as EDP. That they should try to reform their thinking. Don't know if I'm even paraphrasing him, but they should definitely go about it differently. He confessed to having a likeness, a preference to underage women, but does Brandon like that part of himself? Absolutely not. He said he doesn't like it. I can't quote him exactly, but he he more or less regrets having that part of himself. So he does not condone EDP. He rather says you should stay away from a person like that. But I think that's all he had involving his so-called judgment. Anyway, so this movie directed by Mike Clem, of course, Clem, he's in it himself. He is the so-called interviewer in this documentary. Now I'm gonna go full screen and give you my personal analysis. Hope that you're watching. I don't know. As a documentaries, of course, are made to inform. Does it inform? Yes. Does it allow me to have my own personal judgment? Yes. And here's my personal judgment. I don't have enough information. I don't have enough data, enough evidence to even suggest that EDP is remotely deserving of an arrest or deserving of prison time, jail time. I don't know if he should be. I don't know if he should be locked up because this entire documentary, I'm wondering, are we trying to pass judgment on him to determine if he should be arrested, or are we just simply trying to make a show and gain attention, to gain followers? Is this yet another way, just like with my favorite YouTube movie reviewers in quotation marks, Is what I'm watching worth a critique, or are they simply trying to gain attention? Is what I'm trying to do trying to gain attention? Judge for yourself. Judge for yourself. What I'm saying is, all in all, this software being a documentary. It's simply a way to inform. That's about it. Um, as for Mr. Charles White, Charles Christopher White, no, Christopher Charles White Jr., aka Moist, aka Critical, aka Penguin Zero, I guess I said it right. He had his own little stake in it. He said how the guy is disgusting and the worst of the worst. Of course, I'm paraphrasing it. I can't think of an exact quote, but and when I say I'm talking about this guy, the good old, he's like 3 years younger than I am. My birthday was just yesterday, so I'm 3 years older. But he's known as this on his YouTube channel. He's a live streamer, apparently a podcaster, a musician, an actor, comic book, esports manager, YouTuber. He has quite the portfolio, I guess. YouTube information. You can see his channel. Yeah, I'm gonna look at his stuff later. Um. Anyway, so yeah, that's all I got to really say. I more or less enjoyed it. You know, albeit my being disgusted times. Um, I think the documentary is about an hour and 40 something minutes long. Let me look over here and see on IMDb. Yeah, an hour and 34 minutes long. So, it being that long, an hour and 34 minutes long, it it's of course shorter than Spider-Man, significantly by an entire hour and 15 minutes, give or take. Definitely shorter than the Odyssey, which is damn near 3 hours. So yeah, you can watch this little short video, short documentary. It's about as long as you would guess for a documentary to be. A documentary that's made by a YouTuber for YouTube, and let me give you a little bit of a trailer here.
Like he went to that place to have sex with a 13-year-old.
Definitely viewer discretion is advised. Dude's a perverted dude.
That's about all I'm gonna show. Just saying, check it out for yourself. I'll be sure to leave a link to the video, to the actual documentary in the description for this video, so you can watch it for yourself. But yeah, it was a fun time. So that's all about it. That's about it. That's about it. See ya.